What's going on? Welcome to the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite podcast, college football podcast, that is. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got my man, the Mr. You already know who he is. Ray Roberts over here. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We got some good stuff going on, man. But before we start, I just want to see how you feeling, man.
I'm good.
How you been this
I'm
last
good.
couple
Not loving the cold weather, as we know, but I'm good.
yeah, definitely. I'm doing well as well. I'm doing okay, but I brought up a little early. We got some breaking news, Ray. I don't know if you've seen this, Ray, but the head coach of Michigan is officially a LA Charger. First and foremost, Ray, I want to know what's your thought on this breaking news right here, and do you think it was a good decision?
I just actually just reading it now. The information I just got that about Harbaugh accepting the job with the Chargers. I think it was I thought it was really the best job opening in the NFL there is because you have a quarterback. Now I know the quarterback needs to prove a lot. He still does. He's a young guy, but he has some things to prove for sure. But he's there. He's got talent. I just wonder who he's going to bring in as on his defensive staff is what I would worry about because the Chargers' defense has been horrible the last couple of years. So
I hope he don't try to vulture any of the Michigan staff over there with the Chargers, man. I like their young defense names like just some I think it's Mentor or something like that. I forget exactly his name, but I like what the defense is doing, Ray, and I don't want Jim Harbaugh tampering with that, so leave us alone. But I think it's a good decision for him. Like you said, they got a lot of talent on that team. It is getting a little long in the tooth in certain positions, but overall, just thinking about it, you got a quarterback already there and established. You got a young offensive line that look like they can improve, and they can add a few pieces to that in the off season to make that even better. You have a talented defense. I just don't know why they can't get that defense together. It was on paper, it was a solid roster. Not a lot of depth, but you have some solid guys over there that you can probably bring some dudes and make it a good team. I think that the Chargers are a really good fit and a really sold after franchise.
yeah,
So
I agree.
congrats,
I think that they have two good edge rushers in Bosa, and so
Bosa
I
and Mac.
don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Khalil Mack and Bosa. I mean, like you got talent there on defense. You just need to to put a game plan together for what fits the defense. I think that I, again, it's a good job. I actually thought that Bill Belichick was going to try to get that job. To be honest with
Really?
you,
Yeah,
because again, I think he would like to win, and I think that's the team that's the most ready to win right now. Again, because they have the quarterback. So
are you laughing at us, Chris? Like, all right, we're gonna get into that part. Let me read the rest of the comments. Thank you, Chris, for being on. Cameron, he says, I want to play in the bowl. Hey man, let us know, man. DM us on Twitter, man. We got our Twitter up right now. It's Inside the Hatches, Inside Hatches, man. And let me, we can see what we can do to help you out, man. Just DM us. Chris also says it's a great hire for Chargers. I agree. It's a great hire for Chargers. I don't hate this move. Jim Harbaugh did what he needed to do at Michigan, bro, and I will forever be grateful for him. I know 3-4 years ago I was coming for his head and like, dude, get this guy out of here. He really turned the program around. He did great stuff for us, so I'm not hating. It was starting to get a little annoying, to be completely honest, with the whole will he, won't he, the last 3 years. That so I'm just happy that we have a resolution, and I felt like after he was either he go all in for the NFL or go all in with Michigan, because I know Michigan's AD was really trying to make him the highest paid coach in college football. So we really, really wanted him on the team. Um, and I think, if he didn't find the right fit, I think he would have wanted to come back. I don't think that it was a situation where he's like, I can't wait to get out of here situation. It was like hey, this is the opportunity for me to, do what I wanted to. And, he has a brother that's in the NFL right now. He's being very successful right now. I think he just want to be on our same lines, and I think he enjoyed the stuff in the NFL. So again, I don't think it's. I wouldn't be like, oh, Chris, like, ha ha. Like, I don't think it's a ha ha situation. I think we got some good coaches in there. Ray, what's your thoughts on that though?
I just wonder is Sharon Moore going to be the new head coach? That's all. I really want to know who's going to take that position. What's that?
Correct. He said, "This is perfect." Now Ryan Day has zero excuses not to win the Big Ten. When it went for me. Listen, yeah, but you got to also remember we got some other cats coming into this conference. So it's gonna be harder for Ohio State now. It's not gonna be a cakewalk. So you better get your stuff together. They are recruiting like.
Well, I think what this absolutely does is it makes it that if Ryan Day loses to Michigan again this year, he may be looking for another job the year after that.
He said, "Skip the time before that punishment hammer comes down." Man, I don't know if that's happening anymore. I've heard some stuff where it probably wasn't gonna happen anymore. You might be right, Chris, but I heard some rumors that that whole thing kind of like fizzed out. So we'll see how that goes. Ryan Fitness, he says, "I know the feeling of losing coach. Trust me, bro. Tie." Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, he's a Alabama fan. That's crazy. I didn't even like. That's crazy. I'm not. Listen, as heartbroken as maybe you guys are, to be honest. Again, Harbaugh, love Harbaugh. He did some incredible stuff. I feel like it was over. I feel like he kind of compared us to life out after him, and let's just talk about it now, right? Who's gonna be the next coach here? I know the first name that we're gonna say is Sharon Moore, obviously the offensive coordinator who took it over for him the rest of this year. I've been hearing some rumblings and stuff like that. Before I start talking about rumors and things like that, I want to know, is Sharon Moore the best fit for you, Ray? And what are some other candidates you think could or should go to Michigan?
I think, really, honestly, Jerome, he's the only candidate. I really do. I think that after stepping in and doing a really good job for Harbaugh last year, if you look anywhere else, I think that's unfair to him and the program itself. It kind of lets you land on your feet recruiting-wise. And I think about this all the time. A few years ago, the Raiders fired their coach. Interim coach comes in, takes them to the playoffs, and they fire him and hire that idiot from New England. Okay, now this year they did the right thing. They hire Antonio Pierce. He come in and interim coach, did a real good job, and they hired him. I think Michigan is along the same line. Like you have a guy who did the job last year for whatever it was, 5-6 games. They won every game, obviously. So to really go anywhere else, I think would be disservice to the program itself. To be honest with you, I don't see any reason why you would do that unless you're going to bring in like a huge name. But who's that guy?
Very true. Very true. Let me get to some of the comments and then I'll get into what I think and who I've been hearing that wants to come to Michigan, which is crazy. Chris says the best coach and who's the best coach in college football now? I will say
Kirby Smart.
Like, hello.
Kirby
Did you forget about Kirby Smart? All right, I'll say Kirby Smart, and then I'll say Brian Kelly. Well, maybe not in that order, but Brian Kelly would be in there. I will pick Kalen DeBoer. He showed that he.
I'm not a big Debo, but you had to put him in there.
Yeah.
You had to put Dabo in there. I mean,
Dabo,
yeah. One.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to put him in there, but really,
Chris, if you're trying to allude to it being Ryan Day, he wouldn't be in the top 5.
I don't think he's alluding to that because why would you do that?
I think he is.
Nah, he can't be. He really can't be. You can't be saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Chris is a
How can
realistic.
you say anybody besides Kirby Smart right now?
No, 100%.
I mean, he basically. Well, I know he didn't win this year, but he's been, and the fact that Harbaugh left and Nick Saban retired. I mean, really, it doesn't leave you a whole lot to choose from. There are other good coaches in college football, of course, but no one who's done it and recruits any better than Kirby Smart.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and this question is solely to be an a-hole to Chris. Ray, Ryan Day, or Deion Sanders? Who are you taking?
Wow. And this is going to sound crazy, man. I would take Deion.
Yeah.
And it's not because of anything he's done or anything Ryan Day hasn't done. It's where they're standing right now. Deion is the up and coming hot coach, and Ryan Day is the guy that guys like Chris talk about are getting fired every year.
Yeah.
So who do you choose? I mean, I want to ask Chris, who would you rather have? You're an Ohio State guy. Who would you rather have? Would you have Ryan Day or would you rather have Deion?
Advocate for a man who I want fired as the best coach in the college football.
That's what I just said. I just got to say that. Well, who do you think it is, Chris?
He said Prime.
Well, you can't say he's easily the best coach in college football. Come on, man.
It's not. That's actually not an easy question. It's actually not an easy question.
Done anything.
All bias aside, that's not an easy question. That's really not an easy question.
No, because I'll take Deion on what I don't know about him as a head coach and what I know about him, as a motivator and a guy over what Ryan Day is. Correct. And I'm not taking him over Kirby Smart. That's
no.
Come on, man. Let's live in reality.
Ragnar Fitness just asked a really good question. He said, "What if Harbaugh asked Ryan Moore to come with him?" I would hate that. I would
not expect.
I don't either. This is the thing too.
Would happen. I think honestly, if Harbaugh does that, then he's really. I think he cares more about Michigan than that. To be honest with you, I do.
And the other thing, and I agree with you, Ray. But the other thing is that a head coach that's been in the NFL can translate from college to the NFL a little bit easier. I think it's harder to have a college coordinator, translate to the NFL.
Agreed, because a lot of what you do even though you do more college stuff in the NFL than you used to, it's still slight differences. Yeah. Here's the other thing: you're paying Jim Harbaugh who knows what. Mm-hmm. Do you want to really pay a guy $3 or $4 million who's never been an offensive coordinator in the NFL that kind of money? Because Michigan's probably going to have to pay him.
Oh yeah,
between $2 and $4 million a year. They're going to have to.
Yeah.
So is a team, and the Chargers are usually the thing that surprised me about the Chargers, and this is what worried about me. What I worried about with them getting a good coach is they don't really like to pay people usually. The fact that they're paying Harbaugh enough to get him away from Michigan is a little surprising. I thought that Belichick may go there for a little like less money than he would take other teams because I know he wants to win them 15 games.
I don't know about Harbaugh. I mean,
Belichick.
What? Belichick. I don't know about Belichick being at the Chargers. The Chargers are in LA. They're a little bit more flashy, and that's not really his kind of deal. He's kind of like low key. Like he would need a team. Like I think honestly, as much as because I listen to a lot of sports radio down here, and they really think Belichick's down here. I don't think that's going to be a good fit either. I think Atlanta needs a little bit more like a flashy type of culture and atmosphere as well.
What I do like about him down there is who's the quarterback.
That's the number one question.
You can say what you want about Tom, what New England achieved with Tom Brady. We all know Tom Brady was kind of self-motivated.
Correct.
I'm not
Correct.
saying
And
I'm not
also,
saying,
I
yeah.
think the Belichick type of quarterback has to have a certain style to him. I don't know if you like his the type of quarterbacks that he generally have in. I thought of kind of Cam Newton, but even when Cam Newton came in, he was kind of like Cam Newton, if you know what I mean. Like I think Belichick needs a certain type of code, and I think it's best for him to get a young guy to go into his system more than a guy that's already established. You get what I'm saying? Like I think a young, fresh quarterback that he can kind of mold into his kind of style of
he has that there now.
Who?
He has a young quarterback there now, Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, but Desmond Ritter's not good.
No, I disagree with that, but I mean, that's the point, though. Who is going to be the quarterback there?
Yeah, I think they're gonna draft somebody.
Okay. So except for what he did with Tom Brady, what other quarterback has he ever won with?
I mean, you had a young Jimmy Garoppolo. You had the other guy that was with him, Ryan Hoyer. They had some success with him. So I can't necessarily say he can't be like that guy, but let's get to some of these questions because I know we're getting a little off the topic. He says Kellen DeBoer is about to act a full roll tie. That's funny. I would take Prime over Day, best coach and smart. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. I think Mentor would go with Harbaugh. No, don't say that. Shut up.
Honestly, Chris, I thought that was a good spot for him. Again, he has a quarterback. He tweaks the defense, which we know has talent that's underachieved, and he's ready to win. And
I agree. I can see that. I can see that.
Who? With Bill Belichick coaching him? Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that would work. Actually, I feel like Belichick needs a young quarterback. He needs to.
I don't know if that's the kind of guy that Bill Belichick would like to play coach.
Because like even Tom Brady, he was just like Tom Brady's demeanor completely changed when he left New England. You cannot disagree with that.
He what?
So his demeanor, like Tom Brady's whole demeanor when he left New England was completely different after he got away from Bill Belichick.
Agree.
He's talking a lot more.
He showed what he showed more personality. I don't know if a flashy quarterback like Jaden Daniels is that guy for Bill Belichick.
He is a flashy quarterback. You're right. But what I'm saying is, if you have a young quarterback and you have somebody like Bill Belichick who has a very strong personality and he wants his team to be a certain way, like Tom Brady had to fit the way of Bill Belichick. Once he left Bill Belichick, he was like, "This is my real personality, guys. I'm a funny guy. I'm cool. I'm relaxed." But I was in that system. That's my, So I think with Bill Belichick, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So if it's a veteran in there and he has his own style, I don't think Bill Belichick will mesh with a veteran. I think he needs a young guy like AJ Daniels or somebody to. And I actually personally think that Bill Belichick a scrambling quarterback. He tried that with Cam Newton. Again, it doesn't. I don't think it really meshes. Even Cam Newton was like, "Dude, what the heck? Like all these like I was injured for whatever, and then as I was injured, the playbook kept evolving throughout the season. So by the time he came back, it was like learning a new playbook all over again after the offseason.
Well, I never got the feeling that Cam Newton was in the study anyway, so I don't think Cam Newton's the kind of guy that you.
Say that again?
I don't think Cam Newton is the kind of guy that really wants to study anyway. So,
I mean,
yeah, I think Bill Belichick is correct.
Matt Castle, yeah.
They went 11-5 with Matt Castle. Yeah, but Matt Castle fits along them that guy. just a workman-like guy who comes to prepared every day, not flashy. You know.
That's what I mean.
Let's face it, man. Like we know that New England was lucky with Tom Brady, because if anybody knew he was going to be a good starting quarterback, it wouldn't have lasted till where he did. So they looked at him the kind of the same way that they looked at Matt Castle probably at the time. You know, he plays competitive football at a big time program. We'll get him, if nothing else, we can develop him into a good backup quarterback. And they hit pay dirt.
Definitely. All right, let's get back to my last question with the Harbaugh situation. So what I was gonna say is, what was I gonna say? I think that his coordinators are gonna have to be from NFL. I don't think it's gonna be a good idea to grab coordinators from college and put them in the NFL. I don't ever see that working. They tried to do that with Joe Brady. It was a huge learning curve. He's just starting to get his feet under him now. Took him 3 other teams. He was with the Bengals. He was with the Carolina Panthers, and then he went to now he's with the Bills. So it's taking him some time to adjust to the NFL. It's not an easy transition just to be like, oh, I'm a coordinator in college, now I'm going to be a coordinator in NFL. It just doesn't work like that. It could, but it doesn't generally work like that. Even college coaches come to the NFL generally don't really work. So it's not a lot of them. So to try to do that, I think
if you remember when he went from Stanford to San Francisco, he took some of his coordinators with him then. He did.
Yeah. You're
like
right.
I think that Chris may be right. If there's a guy on his staff, Jesse Minter could be the guy.
No, don't say it.
He could be the well, because he's going to want. And obviously Michigan's defense played great last year, and like you said yourself, Jerome, not with a lot of huge talent, just a great scheme and guys that fit into the scheme. So again, I could see a guy like that going with him and working with him. But
I'm hearing that.
God.
I was gonna say I was hearing that Michigan AD was thinking about paying both of the coordinators a lot also. So I think Michigan is really gonna try their best to keep their guys in house. I don't know who the head coach is gonna be. So we'll see about that.
Here's my question. For my thing, I have 2 different coordinators on defense, Minter and Steve Clinkscale. What is the difference between the 2 guys? Because I have both of them listed as defensive coordinators on your team.
Really?
Yeah.
Minter is, that's weird.
Minter and Steve Clinkscale.
I don't know who that is, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I do know that Minter is the I guess the primary DC. I don't know who Clinkscale is actually on. To be honest, I don't know what that's about, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how we go. I don't know if there's any other coaches out there. There is a rumor going around, and I think this is a gross rumor, right? You ready for this?
Good.
So there's a coach that's out there right now who apparently, and this is coming from, not from a reliable source. I'm just going to put that out there. It's not a reliable source. But I want to put this out there just for chicks and giggles. There is a coach that is going out there that people are saying that he might want to play for Michigan. I mean, coach for Michigan. His name is your guy, Urban Meyer.
I would not do that if I were Michigan.
Please don't. Please don't.
No, I mean,
it's not reliable source. Not reliable source.
I mean, again, if you don't hire more than you're doing your program as a service, and to bring in an Urban Meyer right now would completely shake things up. And you know what? You'd probably be good 3 years from now, but it's not going to build on anything you've done that last year.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it.
He's gonna change a lot of things because, I mean, he ran a real wide open spread offense at Florida. That's not Michigan, dude. It's not. Now I know at Ohio State he ran the ball a little more. Still not like Michigan runs the ball.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how that would mesh. I've seen that floating around. I was just like, no. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for the breaking news with Jim Harbaugh going to the LA Chargers. Good luck to Jim Harbaugh. Thank you for all the memories, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the last 3 years spanking on them boys and the horseshoe, man. Thank you for everything, man, and good luck, man. I'll definitely be rooting for him for LA, man. I think it's a good fit for sure. So
I think it's a good fit. I just think really of all the jobs that are open right now in the NFL was probably the best job. I mean, it's the most interesting job.
Definitely. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated on any news on the Michigan head coaching job. Me and Ray definitely expect it to be Teron Moore, but you never know how that goes. You know, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do their due diligence and interview people and stuff like that. And hope that Jesse Minter definitely stays there in Michigan because he had a big part into how that defense was playing. I loved how they were playing. So I hope we keep that up. All right, let's get to other news right now. Is Nick Saban helping Ohio State? Now, hear me out. I know that sounds crazy. He's not on the coaching staff. He's not a consultant. He's not anything like that. But if you really think about it, ever since Nick Saban retired, there's been a lot of people and players going to Ohio State. One of which obviously was Caleb Downs, who played for Alabama. He was a freshman out from Georgia. He actually played at Mill Creek, Georgia. Got to meet him a couple of times before he went to Alabama. Really good freshman. He's now in Ohio State. Then we have the guy Julian saying now he was committed to Alabama. Now he commit to Ohio State. So the effect of Nick Saban retiring is actually helping Ohio State. What do you think about that whole dynamic, Ray?
I think, like you said, that anytime you lose a coach like Nick Saban, it's going to shake up your roster. Mm-hmm. Not only that, Bill O'Brien now, I believe, has named as offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Not only that, they got Will Howard from the transfer over there from Kansas State, a quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think Ohio State's doing a good job with the portal. I'm not a big fan of it, as we know, but it is part of the game now, and you're going to have to learn to adjust to that part of the game. And it is absolutely helping. It's helping every other program, really, because now Nick Saban's not there, and they're still Alabama, man. But I mean, they're going to be fine. And they hired a good coach, so they're going to be fine. But there is going to be some curveballs thrown their way. We'll see how they adjust to it. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for him because for the team. Obviously, again, a lot of recruits in there. Ohio State was always a good recruiting school anyway, so I'm not overly scared about it. I don't like the fact they got Caleb Downs, to be honest, just because I know how good he is and how good he is.
I agree, and I think that having Bill O'Brien calling their offense is going to help them. Yeah. Ryan Day tends to be a little bit predictable, but Bill O'Brien usually is not. I know they were last year with New England because, man, with that no wide receiver on your roster really to speak of, you're going to have them games where you kind of look like a middling team, which is what New England is right now. But I think Bill O'Brien is a good, experienced play caller. I think he'll help Ohio State for sure.
100%. No, I agree. The other players that I'm keeping an eye on is Justin Haynes from Ohio. I'm sorry, from He's another Georgia guy. He used to play over here at Buford, and he is in Alabama. And I'm hearing some rumblings that there's some possibility that he might transfer as well. Now, the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken, closes very soon, but there is also a spring one as well. So that gives players a chance to get acclimated to the school and stuff like that, and then you can transfer out too. He's another freshman. Had some playing time during that Alabama Michigan game as well. Actually, when he got in the game, I got scared, to be honest, right? Because he's a very talented running back, and he started tearing us up, and I was like, please don't discover him in this game. Please don't discover him in the game. But he's another guy that they're talking about possible transferring from Alabama. If he leaves, man, that's going to be a huge hit on that team as well. I think he's very, very talented.
Yeah, agreed.
Man, so Nick Saban leaving, it was bittersweet. You know, I like Nick Saban as a coach. I hated that fact that he was winning. I don't like Alabama. But, you know, I feel like he was a good guy. He did the right thing for his team. He was a DB guy. I like DB. So I had a lot of respect for him. But now that he's left, man, he helping out the Ohio State, man. That's not, no, nah. So not happy about that, but yeah. So we'll keep an eye on some of the transfers. I'm gonna try to look up some of the transfer portal stuff when we get a chance. But let's get into our last segment real quick, Ray, and that is the Senior Bowl roster. Now, last week we got into this a little bit. We did most of the offense. We're gonna get into, excuse me, the offensive line, and then we're going to talk about the defense roster as well. The Senior Bowl being next week, I'm going to be down there on Monday. It's going to be really cool to be down there with the players, and I think there's going to be some great rosters, Ray. But let's get into some of the players. So let's get into the offensive line, Ray. I'm going to read out some names for you that got accepted to the Senior Bowl. And I'll start off with, start off real nice. Talisis Fuaga. Fuaga?
Talis Fuaga.
Talis Fuaga from
Oregon State. Yeah.
Oregon State. We got Drew Ram from Oklahoma. We got Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. We got Graham Burton from Duke. We got Missouri Jalen Foster. We got Michigan's Trevor Keegan. We got Michigan's Ladarius Henderson. We got Merlin's Delmore Glaze. We got LSU's Charles Turner III. We got Kentucky's Jeremy Flax. We got Kansas Dominic Mooney. We got Kansas State's Cooper Beebe. We got Illinois' Isaiah Adams. We got Georgia Cedric Van Brand. Okay, Pran, sorry. We got Florida's Kingsley Uga Khan. How you say that? We got Michigan's Javon Cohen. We got UConn's Christian Haynes. We got Arizona's Jordan Morgan. BYU's Kingsley Sumatila. Okay. Ray's better with this than me.
You kind of confused me for a minute there because you were doing guards and tackles at the same time. So
yeah, it's all mixed in on the website. So I'm just going by what's on the website. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
We got Kansas Bo Lanier. We got Oregon's Jackson Power Jackson. We got Texas A&M Layden Robinson. We got TCU's Brandon Coleman. We got Houston's Patrick Paul. Texas Christian Jones. Utah's Sata Satoma Lumala. Dang, these names. We got Washington's Troy
Futanu.
Futanu.
Futanu, yep.
Washington's Ross. Sorry, Roger Rosengerten. Rosengerten. We got Wisconsin's Tuller Bertolani. We got Marshall's Ethan Drexel. We got and we have West Virginia's Zach Frazier. So with that, Ray, who kind of stands out to you?
Both Michigan guys, Darius Henderson
Yeah.
and Trevor Keegan, like both of them, like Kingsley Sumate from the guard from BYU,
Mm-hmm.
a mover, a fairly athletic kid with some good bulk to him. I like Kingsley Egukan from the center from Florida, athletic kid that can move up pretty well. Zach Frazier from West Virginia, a little bit more of a road grader at center. Cooper Beebe, guard from Kansas State, another athletic kid who can move pretty well. Dominic Pooney, the guard from Kansas. I like Kansas offensive linemen because they all move.
Yeah.
They run so much spread there. They all move pretty well. Question is, can they build up the core strength because they're all like 280? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not 290 maybe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You and as we know in college football, when they're listed at 300, they weigh 290 or 280.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
listed at 30, they weigh 315. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much what's done. The only time is if you have a guy who's been at college for like 3 or 4 years, maybe sometimes they put on 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But usually if a guy's been there for a year or two, they're listed a little heavier than they probably come in at, really.
Correct.
They're really the Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, an offensive tackle, I like a lot. Christian Jones, offensive tackle from Texas. Patrick Paul, the offensive tackle from Houston, is a fairly athletic kid. There's a lot of good offensive linemen this year, and I'm glad because I can use a lot of them. So
you always can use some for your team, Ray.
everybody can use offensive linemen, man.
Definitely. A name that you didn't mention that intrigues me is Jackson Power Johnson from Oregon. I think he's an athletic player down there. Got some power to him. He can pull if you need him to pull. I really like his movement skills. I think he needs to be a little bit better in the passing game, but run game, I think he can really get out there and mold you if he needs to. What do you think about him, Ray?
I like him. I think he's an athletic kid. He moves pretty well, but again, that team they're all pretty good athletes. So I like them.
That's very true. Trevor Keegan, like you said, Ray, the Michigan guy, and then Ladarius Henderson. Ladarius Henderson was actually a transfer. I think he transferred from Arizona, I want to say.
It was Arizona or Arizona State, one or the other, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he's a guy.
Like most guys from Michigan, they're big physical guys. Once they get their hands on you, they lock you out.
Yeah.
I like
Arizona State.
Arizona State, yeah. I know it was one. I'm pretty sure it was one of them two teams.
Yeah.
I like Ethan Driscoll, the offensive tackle from Marshall, even though I think he'll probably play inside at the next level. Another guy who's got some nice heavy hands to him, as they say. But again, we won't know until we start seeing sizes and arms lengths and blah blah blah. I mean, I know people.
Yeah.
Some people think it's overrated, but I firmly believe if you don't have at least 34-inch arms, you can't play offensive tackle at the NFL level. So there are them.
Yeah, that's
liars. What's that?
No, I say that's definitely a stable of yours. Something that you always stable about.
If you have, I don't really care how. Don't get me wrong. Are there outliers, guys that get it? Yeah, there are 1 out of 50. If you don't have 34-inch arms, dude, you're not playing offensive tackle at the NFL level. You're not. Be comfortable being either a
Yeah,
backup or move inside somewhere.
yeah. Let's give some love to my Georgia guys. I know they are wondering about Cedric Van Prawn. Sorry. What's your thoughts on him, Ray?
I am a fan.
Big boy.
Again, Georgia linemen are guys that move, are pretty good athletes. I like that part of his game. Um, I think I wish that I saw. I wish he did more in pass blocking. He
Mm-hmm.
is more of a run blocker, which is fine, but you don't see him do a lot pass pro at
Yeah.
Georgia's.
He's only listed at 6'4". I thought he was a little bit taller than that. I felt like he was.
You know what though, Jerome? Really, at center guard, that's
Yeah.
really what the height you want him to be.
No,
Like
100%.
a lot of times, if you're a bigger guy inside, it gets like smaller. Like I shouldn't say smaller. I mean, all defensive linemen or defensive ends that can get underneath you. Or
Yeah.
I think again, it's a good offensive line class. I have Roger Rosengarten from Washington is another guy I really like a lot. There's just I mean, I keep looking at different guys, and there's always somebody that I miss that I kind of like. Um, but again, until we see measurables and all that stuff, I don't worry about speed. I worry about lateral drills, cone drills, arm length. I don't care about how fast they run. So
Yeah, I mean it does help. Don't get me wrong, it does help because I think when we was evaluating A Chain, I think it helped him out a lot, seeing that he was ran at 4.3. I think it was a 4.3, something like that.
well,
Um,
you're still when you're talking about skill players, of course, because if all the measurables are the same
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
production are the same, you're going to go with the guy that's a little bit faster.
Correct. Yeah,
I'm just talking about like offensive linemen, even defensive linemen. I really don't care how fast you run. I'm more worried about lateral movement, three code drill.
I think the 10 yards is important for defensive lineman for sure.
I think yeah, but again, we're talking about lateral drills, cone drills, stuff
Yeah,
like that. Very important because how quick you are is way more important than how fast you are as a lineman.
100%. All right, let's get to our linebackers. So I'm gonna read out the linebackers that are there. So we're gonna start with Ohio State's Timmy Essenberg. We got UNC Cedric Gray. We got North Carolina State. I say North Carolina State, but has South Carolina's number. I mean logo. Patrick Willis. I think he's from South Carolina. Let me double check real quick. Yes. No, North Carolina. I'm sorry. That was me. Yeah. NC State. There you go. NC State. Patrick Willis. They say North Carolina State. I get confused when I see North Carolina State, and then you start
Mhm.
saying State. Anyway, Georgia State. John Tree Hunter. I know a lot of my guys are gonna be interested in seeing him down there. Mississippi State. Nathaniel Watson. Missouri. Teron Hopper. Michigan's Michael Barrett. I'm going to definitely make sure I try to get his interview. I love that guy. He's a good leader. UTEP's Tyrese Knight. We got Notre Dame's, how you say this, Miris Lafatu?
Ulafacio.
Facio? How did you get that? Okay. Anyway, Notre Dame's JD.
I'm sorry. I'm reading off an order. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Washington kid.
No. I mean, no. This was Notre Dame linebacker.
Oh,
Demetrius.
JD Beltran.
No, the one before the other linebacker you got. Martris.
Oh, okay. Luafu. Laifu.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
they're all weird names, man.
Yeah, I know.
Maris.
Miami got James Williams in there. Kentucky has Trevin Wallace. We got Houston Christian. That's interesting. Jalinx Hunt. Interesting name right there. We got Texas Jalen Ford. We got Washington E E D Ifon Fanu Ulufushu. Okay.
Idefuan Ulufascio.
Okay. Got you.
That was the guy I thought you were talking about him before.
What happened?
Ulufascio. I thought that's who you were talking about before when you were trying to pronounce the other guy's name.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the
Yeah.
guy I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's our linebackers for this game, Ray. Who stands out to you in there?
I like Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
I think from Georgia State, John Trey Hunter, especially as a special teamer guy, is going to be a nice player for you. I like James Wilson from Miami, Williams from Miami. I like Trevin Wallace from Kentucky. Peyton Wilson from NC State is a nice physical linebacker. Cedric Gray from North Carolina is a nice athletic kid. I like a lot of these guys. A kid from Notre Dame, both of the kids. J.D. Beltran is a good physical football player. Luafo is a good, more athletic type of a kid. The linebacker depth is not great though.
Yeah.
It's not a great class, and we ask so little of our off-ball linebackers anymore. So it's really hard to judge that class, man. It's becoming a harder and harder position to really evaluate because teams ask their linebackers to cover everywhere now. It's not like you don't really see thumpers playing linebacker anymore. Usually, no matter how big they are, they usually has to be pretty athletic.
Yeah.
I'm not that. Nathaniel Wilson from Mississippi State is a nice, intriguing prospect. I think he may be the one guy I think can do some stuff, really special things offline and off script. I think he's athletic enough to get to the quarterback from the inside the linebacker position and to do some stuff in coverage.
100%. What's your take on Tommy Eastenberg, Ray? Because he's a guy that plays for Iowa State. So I kind of got a closer understanding of who he is as a player. I will say, last year I feel like he had a better year. He had some good games this year, but when they played Michigan, he was kind of disappeared in my eyes. I mean, obviously I'm focusing on my team when I'm watching the game, so I want to know what's your perspective on Tommy.
I think he's a good player. I think that like Michigan did a really good job of getting to the second level and taking him out of the game.
Correct.
They did a really good job of getting to him because he's the one guy in our defense that can stop and they can play a hold up against the run, but Michigan basically just manhandled them.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to figure out because, like, again, last year I was like, man, this Eastenberg, man, this kid, he's everywhere. He's been all over the field, and I was kind of worried about like him against the run, him defending the run against us. And when Michigan played them this year, he was kind of non-existent. So I just wanted to get your inside take on that. Again, I every time I'm Michigan, it's hard for me to evaluate Michigan outside of Michigan eyes when I'm looking at other teams because I'm so focused on Michigan.
You just watch him play against Michigan. You didn't do him any service because he played really well. He struggled against Penn State a little bit too. He dominated against Michigan State, though, man. He was all over the place against that team.
And that's what I mean because, like I say, like all the other games, I'm like, this kid is going everywhere.
He did struggle against Penn State too, because Penn State's another one. When they let their linemen go out and do their job, they're not bad.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering about him. What's your take on Michael Barrett? Right. I know that our linebacker play wasn't the greatest for Michigan. I think he's a really good leader, and he does flash. What's your thoughts on Michael Barrett?
I think he's a two-down linebacker. I think he'll come in and do some things for you against the run, and then in third downs you kind of take him off the field and bring in a pass rusher.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit of liability in the passing game a little bit. So right.
I mean, it depends. Do you ask him to cover short areas? If you ask him to cover any more than 5 yards, you can trouble them. Yeah. I mean, like most linebackers are. That's the problem with off-ball linebackers. Unless they're freakish athletes, man, there is no spot for like two-down linebackers like when I was a kid. Like you had them all over the place. Now they're a dying breed. But he's a good kid, and like you said, could be a core special teamer. This is where these guys will make rosters. If they can play and excel at special teams, they'll be okay. If they can't, then they'll be always looking for another team to go to.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Ray, let's get into our defensive linemen. We're going to start off with two Clemson players. This one's going to be Rook or Hororo. This is the other one is Tyler Davis. We got Penn State Isaac. We got Oregon's Brandon Dorlus. We got Texas Brian Murphy the second. We got Duke's Dwayne Carter. We got Ole Miss Cedric Johnson. We got Auburn's Marcus Harris. We got Mississippi State's Jaden Crumpty. We got Missouri's Darius Robinson. We got Michigan's Marshawn Keelan. We got Michigan's Braden McGregor. So this has to be a mistake because I think Jalen Harrell actually went back to Michigan. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure he came back to Michigan, unless I'm mistaken. Could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I don't think you are though, Jerome. I think you're right. I don't see I don't see him on my roster.
You don't see him on your roster?
I do not.
Yeah, so my roster is coming straight from the Senior Bowl roster on their website. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he came back. I think he changed his mind last minute, but I don't see it on here. So I don't look into
it. One Michigan lineman on my thing.
You don't see any? No, McGregor's definitely on there.
Braden McGregor, that's it.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
Where do you get your sources from, Ray?
Just Pro Bowl, Senior Bowl.
Oh, okay.
I Google it and it came up, and then I looked at like several different ones. This is the one I like the best, so I just stuck with it.
Definitely. I'm actually looking at his actual. I think he did. So I might be thinking about the other edge rusher actually, Michigan. So he might be in there. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm sorry. We got LSU's Jordan Jefferson. We got Illinois Rudolph Jr. We got Ohio State's Michael Hall Jr. We got Florida State's Brandon
Fisk.
Yeah. UConn's Eric Watt. We got UCLA's Lotu Latu. Alabama's Justin Bolajay. Alabama's Christian Braswell. We got Troy's Javon. Kansas Austin Booker. We got Texas A&M's McKinley Jackson. We got Baylor's Gabe Hall. We got Houston's lost the name. Houston's Nelson Caesar. Sorry. We got Texas A&M's Miles Cole. We got Texas Javonte Sweat. We got Florida State Brandon Jackson. All right, so a mixture of the interior and the edge. So on their actual website, they just put defensive line. So that's their edge rushers and linemen all mixed into one. So I just read all that off to you guys. So Ray, who stands out to you in that group?
I like Michael Hall from Ohio State a lot. I like McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M a lot. I like Byron Murphy from Texas and Devondre Sweat from Texas, a big nose, zero tech type of a kid. I like him a lot. I like Eric Watts from UConn. More of a defensive lineman, like an edge, like heavy, strong side defensive lineman. Dustin Abigail from Alabama is a guy who can add some versatility, could play some three techs and one tech for you. Good football player. I like Jackson Hunt from edge player from Houston Christian, a good football player. Nelson Caesar, kid from Houston, good football player. I like Latu from UCLA. I like Solomon from Troy, Isaac from Penn State, Braswell from Alabama. I like all these kids. I think that they all will add something to your roster. Braden McGregor from Michigan, a heavy defensive end. I like these kids, man. I think they're all good football players. I think they'll all fit someone's system. I do.
Yeah, Braden McGregor reminds me of a not necessarily, but like body size. Like right, we already talking about like the type of edge rushers. I like the long, lengthy kind of edge rushers. This guy's short, compact, so he's kind of like a Brandon Graham in a sense.
I was going to say Brandon Graham reincarnated, man. But again, a great motor and a good leader, I believe.
Correct. So I do like him. Chris Boswell from Bama, I think he got a potential to be a good player as well. Who else didn't you say? Dwayne Carter from Duke. I liked him, especially when they played who was that? UNC. They played. He was tearing that team up on that game, man. So I'm see what he does. But yeah, man. You got some really good names. There's a lot of them to kind of point out in here. Anybody you think is the best out of this group, though? Like your favorite?
I would take Devondre Sweat from Texas. I just think that for what I need from my defense, he can add a lot. He can play some zeros and one tech for me. You can move him inside, like outside, let him play three tech in a 4-3. I think he has versatility. I think for me, 340 pounds, 6'4". I mean, I just like his girth and his athleticism for a guy that big.
Yeah, I'm gonna take right. I'm gonna go with Byron Murphy as a second. 6'1", 303 pounds. He's a mover. He's gonna move that offensive line. He's gonna get to the pass rushers. He's really good in the run game. I really like his game. I think he's gonna be one of those guys that you can have him on a rotation on the line that's gonna go after somebody for sure. So I'm gonna go with his teammate.
I think that actually if you look at them guys, they kind of like work together hand in hand. One is a little bit more of a penetrator. One is more of a gap filler and a guy that will take on double teams. So I think they work very well together. I just like Sweat because like you can't run when he's in the game. You're not going to run at him, dude. You're not. And if you try to run away from him, he's quicker than you think he is.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, let's get to my favorite position range. We're going to wrap up for tonight, and that will be the DBs. Now, again, they mix in cornerbacks and safeties all into this. They usually separate them, Ray. Let me double check. Yeah, they usually separate them. Maybe they'll do that on the actual rosters.
Separated on my list. I have corners and then D backs on my list.
Interesting. Okay.
I have
I'm
ton of guys here, man.
Like I said, I'm on the website. Yeah, I'm on the official website. Let me double check, make sure.
I have 16 corners.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
and 11 safeties.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna read it off. Ray, you just let us. You can let us know what position they play afterwards.
Yeah.
But just gonna go straight through the list. Like I did the defensive lineman and everybody else. So DBs, we got Johnny Dixon from Penn State. Oregon, we got Evan Williams. Another Oregon player, we got Kyrie Jackson. Oregon State, Keaton Oladipo. We got Toledo's Kenyon Mitchell. Ohio State, Josh Proctor. Um, at Rutgers, Max Milton, who I believe that's Bo Milton's brother, if I'm not mistaken, who's in the NFL and playing for the Packers. We got Wake Forest Malik Masufa. We got another Wake Forest Keelan Carson. We got Missouri's Enos Rackstraw Jr. We have another more a Missouri player, Chris Abram Drain. We got Michigan, Mike Summerstill, probably my favorite player that's going to the Senior Bowl this year. We got Merlin's Braid. We have Utah's Samo Baki. We got Kentucky's Andrew Phillips. We got Louisville's Quentin Rowley. We got another Louisville guy, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. We got Cam Hart from Notre Dame. Kalen King from Penn State. Javon Bauer from Georgia. Tyke Smith from Georgia. Jay Hicks from Washington State. We got Cameron Kitchens from Miami. Cole Bishops from Utah. Jalen Simpson from Auburn. Nehemiah Pickett from Auburn. And a third Auburn guy, DJ James. TCU, we got Josh Newton. We got Willie Drew from Virginia Tech. And last but not least, we have Elijah Jones from Boston College. So, Ray, who's you guys?
Of course, I'm going to go through the corners first. Quentin Mitchell from Toledo, I think, is a slot corner type guy. Good player, good hips, nice mover. I like Cam Hart from Notre Dame. A little more physical, big kid that can play some press coverage for you. Plays solid zone, but more of a press corner. I like Kalen King from Penn State, even though I think he's a little handsy sometimes and can get get flagged a little bit too much. Nehemiah Pritchard from cornerback from Auburn, good football player. A little, again, when you ask him to play zone, he likes to look at the quarterback a little bit too much for me. Johnny Dixon from Penn State, I think, is a good football player. Justin Newton from TCU, and these are all corners I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
Jade Barron from, I always mess up the guy's first name. Jade, I think is pronounced. Barron, corner from Texas. Cha Smith Wade from cornerback from Washington State played really good this year, especially in the ball game. Chris Abram Drain from Missouri, again another good corner. Now I'm going to the safety. I like Bo Braid from Maryland, again a kid who plays with a lot of heart and determination. Good special team type of a kid, I think will be. Josh Proctor from Ohio State is a good safety, good physical guy that can tackle well. Tyke Smith from Georgia, good football player. Same thing with Javon Bullard from Georgia, good football player. Jaden Hicks from Washington State, good football player. Sayan Vaki from defensive back from Utah is more of a hybrid guy that could probably do some things as a linebacker, hybrid safety type of a kid. Cameron Kitchens, defensive back from Miami, another probably more of a free safety type. That's pretty much all of them. Cole Bishop from Utah, I like, but I don't know how much of an NFL player he's going to be. I think he's more of a, if he hangs on a roster, will be a special teams type kid. So
definitely. There's a name that you kept off, obviously, was Mikey Summerstill. What's your take on him, Ray?
I like him a lot, but I think that again he needs to show that he can move like both ways. Right now, his hips are a little stiff at times.
Okay. I feel like he's one of those players that he might be deemed as a positionless player. And when
Agreed.
that he's not, he he reminds me of a very, and when I say very, he's a lot more slimmer than Jabril Peppers. But you can pretty much put him anywhere on the defense. They had him a slot when he played at Michigan, but I feel like you can put him in any of those spots over there. I do feel like he needs to get bigger because he's very slim, but he's not afraid to tackle. He's a good tackler. He got very good awareness. I I think he's one of those positionless guys though. So like, you're not gonna know, is he a corner? Is he a slot guy? Is he a safety? I think he might serve best as a free safety, maybe. What's your thoughts on that, and where would you put him?
I think he would be better as a safety, but a safety in a four-quarter type of a defense where he can, because he is a solid tackler and he does
Correct.
move. I'm not saying he can run, but he doesn't move
Yeah.
always laterally great.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask him to cover like deep zone, I don't know how well he would do doing that.
Yeah. I got you.
But I think he's a good solid athlete. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it's going to be the question is, can he put on 10 or 15 pounds of muscle and not
Yeah.
lose any of his athleticism?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, I think his biggest thing right now is to focus on getting a little bit bigger and working on his hips a little bit more. I
Mm-hmm.
think that if he can do that and still keep that same speed and be able to see the whole field like he does with Michigan, because they do keep him out in the slot where he's able to kind of see the field. He's out there, he makes plays, he's a very dynamic player. When he gets the ball in his hand, it's almost always his pick six. He played very well. A guy that used to be a wide receiver. So coming from a wide receiver spot to go to a DB spot and play so well, so fast, I thought that was incredible. So
I think that
again,
his ball skills are probably what makes him stand out a little bit more. He does have really good ball skills.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. By the way, Subway is not sponsored by Inside the Hatches for RPO podcast. I just happen to have a Subway drink. Anyway, who's your favorite guy in the DB spot this year for the Senior Bowl, right?
I mean, my favorite guy would be Cam Hart from Notre Dame. I really think.
Yeah.
I think.
He's good
I
though.
think. But I also think he's a better player than he showed at Notre Dame at times. I think that Notre Dame's inability to get consistent pass rush hurt Cam Hart a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the guys that really intrigued me is Cameron Kitchens from Miami. I believe he played safety most of the time, right?
He did. Yeah, he played safety.
He's a very intriguing player. I always find that one safety at the Senior Bowl that I always gravitate to, and it played very well at the Senior Bowl. I know last year my eyes was on the Florida State safety. His name's slipping my mind, but I see him in my head right now. I think I him, and he had a good Senior Bowl too. He was a little too physical at times, but he draws a lot of flags. But I thought he did well. So I think Cameron Kitchens is a guy that I'll be definitely keeping my eye on. Because again, like I always say, it's always that one DB, especially safety for some reason. I always keep my eye on at the Senior Bowl, and they played Jamie Robinson from Florida State last year. He was the guy that I kept my eye on him. I think he went in like the 4th or 5th round. But he's the guy that I had my eye on well at the Senior Bowl. So Cameron Kitchens is the guy that I will be keeping my eye on as well, see how he does in practice and stuff. So.
I'm a fan of Kitchens.
Say again, right?
I like Kitchens. I think he's a good football player. I mean, Miami underachieved. Again, their defensive backs didn't get a lot of help from their defensive line. So,
No, definitely. All right, so Ray, obviously that's gonna wrap up our Senior Bowl talk for next week. We probably won't be on. I got to figure it out. Still
Right.
my itinerary for when we get down there. But if the RPO College Football podcast don't be on, we are gonna have a Senior Bowl special podcast. So it's gonna be either one. So around this time next week, it's gonna be one of the other podcasts that's gonna be going on. I just don't know which one yet. So hold tight with us. Give me a second. I get with you guys. But mainly because they're doing a Senior Bowl. They usually have the media day breakfast, and obviously saying breakfast, that's the morning time. They're gonna have it after prep practice this year, so it might run into our podcast time. So I'm still trying to figure everything out right now. I'm actually doing the itinerary tonight, but you're right. Any last minute Senior Bowl stuff that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I just really um looking forward to the draft. Basically,
Yeah.
my NFL season's been over for a couple weeks now, so I'm just looking forward to the draft. So
I think this is one of the better quarterback classes at the Senior Bowl, and I think once the years that we have better quarterback classes, I think it raised the level of the
of
Senior Bowl.
course, as we know, depending on what Chicago does with that first pick, could either make it very, very exciting or very, very boring in the beginning.
Yeah, I think honestly, I personally think either way is gonna make it exciting because it's gonna be either Chicago keeps Justin Fields, which means that somebody's probably gonna go to number one, gonna be a trade, and then go get Caleb Williams, or they keep Caleb Williams, and it's gonna be a trickle effect because they're gonna have to trade Justin Fields at that point. Then somebody's gonna get Justin
If
Fields, and
I
then
were Chicago and I decide to draft just Caleb, then that's fine. I'm not going to debate it. If I don't know how right now I feel about that. I think I would just try to build on what I have with Justin Fields, but I understand that Caleb's a talented player, and there may be a lot of people thinking, well, we can reset it again. That's fine. But do yourself a favor. Trade Justin Fields first. Because once you draft Caleb Williams, you diminish his value.
I agree.
Trade him now.
That's gonna be a very interesting conversation. I know management and everything kind of having that conversation now. They have a chance
That's
to
a team
really
right there.
evaluate how Justin Fields.
If I
It's
were
a
a
hard
team,
decision.
if I were a team like the Steelers or Atlanta, and I need a quarterback, I would be talking to
Calling.
Chicago
I'm
right
calling.
now.
I'm calling. I agree. I'm calling. I'll
Right
call every
now.
single day.
What do you want? What do you want for the pick, and what would you want for Justin Fields if
Either one. Yeah,
if you're going to
either
make that pick? What do you want?
100%. Either or. Either or. I
Yeah,
agree. You should be.
I
I
would be
think
talking about that right
their line
now.
should be blowing
Yep, I would be talking to them about that right
yesterday.
now. I mean, again,
Last
because
week.
if you're Chicago, don't do the dumb thing and think, well, we'll get something for Justin Fields down the road because Justin Fields is not a backup quarterback right now. He either has to play and get his feet completely under him, or you move on from him.
100%. No, I agree, Ray. And the thing is, too, is like my thing is, and me saying this, I don't want anybody thinking that I don't like Caleb Williams, but it's always the unknown. We know what we got out of, Justin Fields. We know what we can potentially have. Now it's up to the evaluators, the scouts, the coaches, the GM to figure out, are we better off keeping a guy that we know, or get a kid that we don't know and hope that he's good? Because again, no matter how much we look at these players and how good we think they are, and they're gonna be this and that, never know until they actually get here. I mean, we are let's, and I'm not trying to diminish this kid. I still think he has a lot of potential, but you see what's going on in Carolina right now. You see it. You see what happened with tons of players that went in the first round that everybody's like, that's the guy. We still trying to figure out what's going on with Anthony Richardson. I don't know, Ray, you wasn't too high on him, but we're still trying to figure out what's going on with him. He got an injury this year, Mulligan. There's plenty of quarterbacks come out, and we're just like, that's the guy. That's him. They get drafted and it works out.
And I'm not even going to say that, like, I know I would go this way or I would go that way. I know if you're Chicago and you're not going to take Caleb Williams, and you really probably should just trade the pick.
100%.
Because someone is going to want to take that quarterback in that spot. And if you're not going to do it, you could really set up your team for the next 5 or 10 years. And I mean, I know it's Chicago, and they tend to do dumb things in Chicago, but who am I talking about teams doing dumb things? My teams do dumb things all the time too. So what am I talking about? But anyway, I mean, like, if you're not going to make that pick, then trade the pick to somebody who's going to make the right pick. I mean, my thing with Chicago is they need playmakers, they need linemen. So you could really put yourself in a good spot to get those other positions if you're comfortable with the quarterback.
Yeah. My biggest thing is, like, how split will the organization be with this decision? So that can make or break it too.
It can.
We already talked about what happened with in Carolina. Some guys wanted Stroud. Some guys wanted I'm blanking on his name.
Bryce Young.
Huh?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. There you go. Bryce Young. Some people want DJ. Some people want Bryce. And then they made that choice, and then when the young man doesn't play well, I told you, like, that's just how things happen. So,
Jerome, here's my thing. Like, how I feel about the quarterbacks coming out last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It doesn't matter what I feel about the quarterbacks. Once you make the pick, you have to make it work. We all know that Bryce Young is a talented kid. There's no question about that. Put an offense around him that works for him.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
Don't get me wrong. He saw some flashes. And I don't ever want to diminish a young guy that's only played 1 year. That is unfair. That is very, very much unfair. Also, you got to think about, like, who is offensive lineman? How's the play calling going? There's so many factors into it that you cannot just be like, Bryce Young, just writing off Bryce Young. You have to look at the total picture. Who's his receivers? Literally, I know I can, but who can you name any other receivers right now, Ray?
No, not really, dude. They traded the one they had.
Yeah, they got Terrence Marshall. They got Shi Smith. I just know that because I'm just a football junkie, but to the regular fans, they don't know none of these receivers.
I mean, I knew they are, but you asked me for good receivers, dude. They're not them.
Yeah.
You have nobody there that makes an impact.
That's what I mean. So, like, you gotta look
again. Like, yeah, man, this is the NFL. If you're gonna draft a quarterback, at least be committed to the guy, man. Right. If your goal is to think you're going to get a finished product after 1 year, I mean, man, like, and I love CJ Stroud, but if you think that, and I think CJ Stroud was a better prospect than Bryce Young, but again, that's my opinion. But again, I also will say this: if you drafted Bryce Young, you should have known that you didn't have a lot of players on offense around him, and he's going to struggle this year. If CJ Stroud would have went to Carolina, he would have struggled more than he did in Houston too. Let's face it, Houston has a better roster than people thought they do. They do. And their head coach got the defense to play well above his head all year. You saw in the end against Baltimore, they're 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 a team that's getting there. They haven't gotten there yet.
Oh yeah.
Their defense was all scheme. They need a lot of work on that defense, man.
Yeah, 100%.
And their offensive line is still not great. The quarterback's good, and he played good all year. And I'm not trying to minimize what he did. And I'm not saying if you'd have changed him, like Bryce Young goes to Houston and C.J. Stroud goes to Carolina. What I'm saying is it would have been a happy medium. Stroud would have still been, to me, the better prospect, but he still would have struggled because Carolina is not a good team right now. Where Houston is an emerging team with a coach that looks like he knows what has his feet under him already, which is the crazy part about it.
I seen that coming from a mile away, Ray. I seen that. I'm sorry, D'Amico Ryans. When I see him with the Eagles and see how he was with the team and his intelligence and I follow the Texans very close. I actually like that team. Don't tell nobody, but I really like that team. So I be following them a lot as well. And when he was with the Texans, I also seen it. I was like, this guy is a smart guy, man. When Brian Cushing was there, he was beating out Brian Cushing, man, because he's just smarter, better player. I mean, so when he came to the Eagles, like I respect him. He didn't do much as the Eagles, but I had so much respect for him on the Eagles because he was such a smart player, you know. So
we're not surprised that he's a good coach.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that happened that quick. Like the players all bit in that, like all bought in.
That didn't surprise me. The way they did what he did with the San Francisco 49ers. You know, I met him at this. I didn't get to talk to him because he was talking to somebody else. But I met him at the Senior Bowl, and just watching him, you know, throughout the Senior Bowl as well, it didn't really surprise me, right? It really, really didn't. I'm so sorry for saying it like that, but you know, seeing him at the Senior Bowl, seeing his career at San Fran, and then going to Houston, it didn't surprise me that much. I really knew that he was going to be a really good coach. I really, really did. So sometimes some of these guys, man, people need to chance on, you know, the smart, you know, guys that are really player coaches, man, and play the heck out of for that guy, man. So, you know, they should not have been even in that game with Baltimore now. It kind of got out of hand a little bit after the half, but looking at the score in the beginning, you're like, hold on, how did this happen? You know? So
that was the thing that scared me about it, to be honest with you, Jerome. I was watching the game and thinking, man, Houston's really playing well. They should, but the fact they couldn't muster any offense scared the crap out of me, man.
Yeah. As soon as I seen that, the fact that they got that touchdown because of the kick return, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be over in the second half.
yeah. Like I'm like, you scored. You had one good drive the whole first half, and you got lucky on a special teams touchdown.
And that Ravens
Baltimore's a little like San Francisco in the beginning. They were a little stale from not playing the week before, so they were like, yeah, I'm like, this game's going to end pretty quickly in the second half. But because Houston again, it played well over their heads all year, and their roster is better than we thought, but still not quite what it needs to be.
100%. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. I appreciate y'all getting on with us. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification button right there. That QR code right there, right under Ray. I got it. There you go. Right over there. My fingers are going over. It's like, make sure you hit that to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We have some great stuff on our YouTube channel. We have the RPO College Football Podcast. We have the new First and Foremost podcast. We talk high school football, recruiting, all that stuff on there. That's on Tuesday night. Saturdays, we have the Air It Out podcast. It's the NFL podcast. We talk all NFL. The boys should be coming back. I'm not going to guarantee that, but they should be coming back soon. So look out for them to be talking all NFL, all off-season stuff as well. And then obviously we got our interviews that are going to be coming out. All our Senior Bowl stuff is going to be on there. Remember, I'm going to be at the Senior Bowl on Monday. We're going to look at all the weigh-ins and all that on that day. You're going to have some great articles, some great interviews with a lot of players that we just talked about tonight. So make sure you stay tapped in with us inside the hashes. Like, subscribe, share it, let your friends know, support us inside the hashes. RPO College Football Podcast. First and foremost podcast, the Air It Out podcast, all here on the NFL Network. I'm sorry, NFL Network. Jeez, we're the NFL Network. The the Inside the Hashes network of podcasts. Make sure you stay here with us locked. Once again, I'm Jerome Jones. That is Ray Roberts, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We appreciate y'all. See you next week. I'll be at the Senior Bowl at Alabama Mobile. Thank you guys so much, and see you next time. Peace.